Debuting in Medarot 7 as the latest and greatest of the iconic Dog series. It is DOG-04M Cobalt Setter, with the kit of Scope, Double Rifle, 5 head legs, and the leg ability of Through Shot, which grants a chance for shooting attacks to ignore defense or bypass shields when attacking. Now normally when you think of something like Through Shot, you'd expect that to be on, say, a pickup gacha model. Not quite so, as Cobalt Setter is a model that's been around in Medarot S's general pools pretty much right from day one in launch day back in 2020. And as a very solid dependable shooter type, Cobalt Setter certainly maintains that same tradition that previous dog types before him has maintained. Scope is a support-based skill that is very friendly for shooting-based skills, in the reason that upon activation, either that be himself or for an ally, it will grant pierce damage to a non-pierce damage part for 1 turn. So normally if that part is not fully capped and lacks pierce damage, or even if it's something like Beam, which has high damage but no pierce, adding Scope to the mix, even if it's just for that 1 turn, invalidates that drawback for that 1 use, allowing it to make the to deal the absolute highest amount of damage possible before it expires. Right and left arm of rifles are both conventional shooting parts you generally can never ever go wrong with using anywhere. Very good base power, good heat and cool, moderately good success too, even if in the armor department Cobalt Setter is lacking just a little bit. And Through Shot honestly is a very good complement to his kit as well, as this does give him a passive chance to bypass shields or deal extra damage on his turn by ignoring the opponent's resist stats when shooting them. In terms of armor, like I mentioned, he is rather light, but given his very lightweight design, that is kind of to be expected, with a head HP of about 3,100, arms about 2,800 each, and his legs at about 3,750. Again, not too bad, but a good hit or two will put this dog down faster than you'd really want to. However, when it comes to both of his arms, his left arm actually is moderately impressive at first glance, especially given that he's a model anyone can get a hold of because he's in the permanent pools. And that is, when he's fully capped out, the base power on his left arm is almost 1,300, and his success on that same arm being over 1,300. Meaning he not only has very good power in that left arm, but he also has a moderately good chance to land crits and guarantee all hits land on top of that. In terms of his leg stats though, he's not too shabby. Again, he's honestly a moderately surprising model that you really don't give a lot of credit to until you sit down and look at him. A base mobility of 684 isn't bad, kind of on that higher cusp of where the minimum bar is, but a good Metarodder or some speed chips may possibly comp this. A melee resist of 728 is kind of to be expected for a very lightweight dog type like him, so he will take a pretty notable amount of punish damage from incoming melee attacks. But he does have a shoot resist of 1204, which means that he can most certainly hold his own in a contest of pot shots, of determining who gets to gun down the other first. An evade of 842 isn't too shabby, but he definitely will not be having that very high chance to dodge or graze as, say, someone with a much better leg. That being said, as a pure set score, I do honestly have to rate Cobalt Setter a pretty solid 6.5 out of 10, and in some cases arguments could even be made for a 7, given that his kit has very, very good synergy with itself. And while fully capped, Scope may not be super handy, it can be a truly invaluable skill to make use of if you're just starting out, especially when you don't have parts fully capped, but can deal pierce damage. So say if you're that new Metarodder and get a hold of this, but your right arm rifle doesn't quite have the pierce damage yet, slap this bad boy on that kit, and even if you have to alternate between turns, this can make very good use of that. As mixed parts, I easily have to rate him much higher at a 7 out of 10. Even if his right arm rifle isn't packing near the power of his left, they are still very conventional skills you really can't ever go wrong with using anywhere. And with his legs having Through Shot as a leg ability, this honestly does make it a very good alternative as the poor man's shield bypasser for shoot nukers. So if you have not had the chance to pull for someone, such as say Warbonnet or Kabuto Benimaru who have Through Shot, Cobalt Setter can be a very good stand-in for that very same reason and give you the same results.